Hi everyone, my name is Kelly Zorn, and Melanie Huey and I were assigned the Developmental Test of Visual Perception, the second edition, also called the DTVP-2. I'd like to begin by stating that the authors agreed that the term perception refers to the brain processes that interpret and organize the physical and concrete elements of a stimulus, which include things like its size, color, shape, and texture. And then specifically, this test measures different but interrelated visual, perceptual, and visual motor abilities. And it includes 8 subtests that each measure 1 out of 4 types of these abilities. And those 4 types include position in space, figure ground, form constancy, and spatial relations. And then each subtest is also classified as either motor enhanced or motor reduced, based on the amount of motor dexterity required to perform the subtest. And these classifications exist because visual perception and motor development are 2 separate systems, and this means that lower scores in tests on visual motor integration may represent a problem in one of these 2 areas, but not the other. And I've included this table, which kind of breaks down each of the 8 subtests, and then the type of visual perception that they measure, and then the motor involvement that's involved in the subtest. So half of the subtests are motor reduced, and then the other half are motor enhanced. And then you would use this test with children ages 4 to 10. And the actual assessment is 30 to 60 minutes and can be completed in 1 or multiple sessions. And then to administer the test, you would do it with an individual client in an environment that's free from distractions, that's well ventilated, well lighted, and quiet. And then the subtests are administered in order, starting with subtest 1 and ending with subtest 8. And all items are administered on subtests 1 and 7. And then ceilings exist on the other 6 tests, which means that the test ends once a certain number of responses are inaccurate. And basically, it looks like the child will be completing the items of each subtest while the examiner is recording the accuracy of their performance in real time. Now we're going to go through the 8 different subtests. The first one is eye-hand coordination, and it measures the ability to draw precise, straight, and curved lines in accordance with visual boundaries. And then I've included this picture that shows what it looks like. The second subtest is position in space, and it measures the ability to match 2 figures according to their common features. And Melanie and I will actually be demonstrating how you'd administer this subtest.
Here's a box with a drawing in it, and over here are 3 other boxes with drawings in them. Look at the drawing in the first box, and I want you to find a drawing just like it in one of these. Be careful and find the one that is in exactly the same position as the first one over here. Okay, you can do the next one. Okay. Now I'm going to turn the page. Look at the picture that is over here and then find another picture that is in the same position over here. This one. Let's go on to the next one. And the last one. Copying is the 3rd subtest. This measures the ability to recognize the features of a design and to draw it from a model. An example of this subtest is here. The 4th subtest is figure ground, which measures the ability to see specified figures even when they are hidden in confusing, complex backgrounds. And an example of that is over here. The 5th subtest is spatial relations, which measures the ability to connect dots to reproduce visually presented patterns. Again, an example of that is here. The 6th subtest is visual closure, which measures the ability to recognize a stimulus figure when it has been incompletely drawn. The 7th subtest is visual motor speed, which measures the rapidity with which a child can make certain marks in certain designs. And the last subtest is form constancy, which measures the ability to match 2 figures that vary on 1 or more discriminating features, which could be size, position, or shade. This assessment yields 5 types of scores: raw scores, age equivalents, percentiles, subtest standard scores, and composite quotients. Composite quotients are the most reliable scores. Individuals who do well on these quotients demonstrate mastery of eye-hand coordination skills and the visual perceptual abilities often required for executing these skills. Low scores are generally made by children who have visual perception problems, fine motor disturbances, or difficulty in coordinating their hand movements with vision. When the general visual perception quotients are below 90, examiners need to pay more than usual attention to the motor reduced visual perception quotients and the visual motor integration quotient. Motor reduced visual perception quotients are the most direct measure of visual perception in that only minimal motor skills are required. Visual motor integration quotients, if they are low, they do not necessarily indicate poor visual perception. They may mean that the child has awkward hand movements or difficulty coordinating hand-to-eye movements. Comparing these quotients is helpful to ensure that they will not mistakenly diagnose a child as having a visual perceptual difficulty when in fact they are experiencing a problem in the motor area. And over here is the quotient scores and how they are interpreted. The DTVP-2 is a reliable, valid, norm reference and standardized test. It can be used to document the presence and degree of visual perceptual deficits in children and allow for comparison to be made between visual motor skills and visual perceptual skills. It can be used for referral to other professionals or agencies for further diagnostic work or enrollment in remedial programs. It can also be used to show the effects of special training programs designed to correct visual perceptual and visual motor problems. It can also be used as a research tool for investigators who wish to use standardized instruments to study visual perceptual processes.